talk about the only three things that matter if you want to make $100,000 on eBay, because there are really only three things. I know that it's overwhelming, and a lot of people are going to say that they have the secret to success and they have the formula, and if you do what they say, you're going to make a bunch of money. But everyone's plan or formula or spiel they have pretty much boils down to these three pillars of profitability. And it can be any number. If you want to make 50 grand, you can just cut them in half. If you want to make 200 grand, just manipulate the numbers that way. But as long as you understand what you're buying items for on average, what you're selling items for on average, and your sell-through rate, you can pretty much extrapolate out what your expected profits are, how much money you're going to have to spend, and just how your business will look over the forthcoming months. And I'm going to tell you the problem that I had with this and how I probably should have done a better job at doing this and implementing this thought paradigm into my business. Because right now, even though revenue was good and margins were good, my sell-through rate was bad. So my sell-through rate, I have no clue what it even is. In order to accurately get sell-through rate, what I'd have to do is download my active listings every single day and then compare that against number of items sold every day, because your active number of listings is a fluid number. What it is one day is not what it's going to be the next day, assuming you either have sold items or listed items. And that makes understanding what your real sell-through rate is extremely tricky. Even when you go to eBay to download reports, you cannot schedule a report to give you daily active listings. How crazy is that? You can download daily orders, but to reconcile that against daily active listings requires you to actually manually go in and either copy the number off your eBay seller dashboard or downloading its own specific report. I wish it was as simple as saying, oh, today I have 9,000 listings. This month I've sold 900 things. I have a 10% sell-through rate. But what throws a wrench in that is that every time you sell an item, it's no longer for sale in your store. And so you're going to be artificially inflating, I guess, your sell-through rate when you list more items, because especially if you become better at buying items, those items will sell faster. And an item selling in one day does not necessarily mean that all your items will sell in one day. It means that that item will sell in one day. And so to extrapolate that across your whole store takes a bit more elbow grease. I've been working on this in ChatGPT, trying to figure out the best way to reconcile all the information. And at this point, I have no idea besides manually doing all this downloading. I'm sure there's some API work you could do, and maybe there's already existing products that do this. But I think that probably is the most important thing, because what you don't want to do is what I did, where even though your profit margins are fine and even though the revenue numbers are good and growing, you're accruing more and more and more bad inventory, or rather inventory that sells at an extremely low rate. I have some items that have taken longer than 500 days to sell. Do you know what that means? That means on any given day, there is less than a 0.02 or a 0.2% chance that it'll sell. 1 in 500. So not a 1% chance it'll sell on the day, not a 0.5% chance it'll sell on the day, but a 0.2% chance that on any given day, this item will sell. And it's not as mathematical as that. There's seasonality, there's trends, there's all sorts of things. Maybe your item is priced high, and so that's making it sell slower. But you get what I'm saying. How to have items that take that long to sell is not necessarily the best use of your space. Initially, I kind of brushed this off because, oh, I have a warehouse and I'm already paying for all of it. So what's the care? Why do I care if I'm putting more and more stuff into my building? Well, now that I'm trying to get out of there, it's an extremely big problem. I have tens of thousands, at least 10,000, maybe 20,000, somewhere in that number, of things that are either unlisted or listed and have most likely an extremely low expected sell-through rate. What further throws a wrench into these plans is there's no way of really knowing this. When you do old books like I did, I think that what I probably have to do going forward is set like a 1,000-day limit. I don't know, a 600-day limit. If an item doesn't sell in 1,000 days, that means that every day you have, I guess, a 1 in 1,000 chance of selling it. And if you don't hit those numbers, I feel like it's not a very steep step to say it's never, ever going to sell. Obviously, we all have those things that sell after 3 years, and those reel us back into making these bad buys. But I think going back, what I would have done and what I should do now, and what I am doing by throwing things away or donating things or auctioning them off, whatever makes the most sense for that specific item, is just getting rid of old stock. I mean, you really begin to understand why big stores like Walmart are always running clearance sales, because there's a lot more issues that come with having inventory that doesn't sell besides the lack of revenue. The logistics involved with organizing and moving around and getting in the way of better selling items is a real problem to have, and it's much more obvious in a retail setting. But in an e-commerce setting, when you're a one-person business and you're moving around boxes trying to find the thing that you want to get out to ship out, then it is a problem. I guess that's really where I'm at now with this video. I started off talking about the important things in making $100,000, and buy cost and sell cost. Those are the easy things. Everyone knows you have to sell things for more than you buy them for. I think some people are maybe a little bit confused about how much more you have to sell them than you buy them for. But just to throw some numbers out there, if you can sell about 2/3 of the things that you buy, and you buy them for $5, if you want to make 100 grand a year and you can ship out like 30 items a day, which is a decent amount, but nothing crazy, you want to sell your items for about $30. And that's, again, this is back of the napkin math, but those are the kind of numbers you have to look at, where turning a $5 item into a $30 item and doing that 150 times a day is going to make you $100,000. And this is also built on the knowledge that I personally have, that only buying cheap to ship items is the way to go. So that's either going to be medium mail that ships for a very affordable rate based on the weight, or it's going to be first class items that weigh under 8 ounces, because once you get above that, especially in big and bulky items, sometimes with the free shipping model that incentivizes the most user checkouts, which is something eBay tells us, it becomes difficult to accurately predict where your business is going. So I guess we'll leave this kind of open-ended. What do you think your best sell-through rate is? What kind of sell-through rate do you look to go for? How do you calculate your sell-through rate? And if you've been doing this for as long as I have, what things have you learned along the way? Because I know if you're like me, there's a lot you picked up along the way. Thanks for watching, guys. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow.